Ladies and gentlemen, we have some huge news with what's happening with Bank of America. They're finally being caught for all the things they've been doing. They're facing huge losses and they've been scamming their customers. And now they're going to get a massive fine right at the worst time because Bank of America is really struggling. A lot of people are not happy with Bank of America. They're pulling their money out of Bank of America. Bank of America made some huge losses on their assets. So in today's video, let's get into the article that shows they just got caught red-handed. So look at this, everyone. Bank of America fined 150 million for consumer abuses, including fake accounts. So this is not good at all. Making fake accounts to make their books look a lot better than it really is. And this is why sometimes when they have these earnings reports, you need to go a bit deeper than that. So, okay, let's have a look here what exactly happened. So Bank of America engaged in deceptive practices that hurt hundreds of thousands of its customers in recent years, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau said Tuesday. Okay, this is not good. The bank charged multiple $35 overdraft fees for the same transaction. That's absolutely crazy, everyone. So, for example, you did a transaction of $10. Well, they're going to charge you a $35 overdraft fee. But not just that, maybe they charge you a $35 after overdraft fee every single day your account was in overdraft, which is just absolutely crazy. They also failed to properly issue rewards to credit card users and sign up customers for card accounts without their consent. And this is absolutely crazy, everyone. You have people, the credit card debt is surging to record levels. And on top of this, a Bank of America went and signed up these people for these credit card rewards and signed them up for accounts without even them knowing about it. This is absolutely crazy. And then imagine somehow, I don't know how you'd manage to do this, but you actually spent money and then got charged interest. That would just make it even worse. So also as well, the company has to pay 150 million in fines, as well as about 80.4 million to customers who were unfairly charged bogus fees on top of 23 million it already paid to customers who were improperly denied card awards. I'll go ahead and bring up another report here. This is why Bank of America is in big trouble. So Bank of America faces 109 billion of paper losses and spells earnings trouble. So it's going to be very interesting to see when these banks release their earnings to see how good they're doing. We're seeing delinquencies rise on car loans. We're seeing personal loan delinquencies rise. And I think we will start to see home loan delinquencies rise as inflation gets worse, even though people in the US have 30-year fixed rate mortgages, while insurance is rising, property taxes are rising, and a lot of pensioners that are on the pension, they simply can't afford these increases and they're going to be forced to sell. So listen to this. Let's get a bit deeper into this report. So Bank of America incurred a paper loss of approximately 109 billion due to its decision to invest heavily in US government bonds. So for people that don't know how this works, I'll go ahead and change this scene here. For people that don't know how this works, when you buy a bond and say, for example, it's paying 2% interest, but then they go ahead and issue new bonds now paying 5% interest, why would you invest in those bonds that are paying 2% interest? Well, you wouldn't. And that causes these bonds to fall hugely in value. And this is what happened on the bank's balance sheet. And like I went over in previous videos, they're also going to be facing huge losses on these commercial real estate loans. Okay, so this is really a recipe for disaster here. Let's get a bit deep into what else is happening. This loss is significantly higher than those of its competitors such as JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and Morgan Stanley. The low yields on these long-dated securities compared to current interest rates could pose earnings potential for the problem bank. We've got them facing $109 billion in paper losses. On top of this, they're getting massive fines for fraudulent behavior. Customers are pulling out money, and this is really giving them a bad look for Bank of America with this news report. So I expect they're going to have some weak earnings, and it's going to be very interesting to see how Bank of America weathers a storm. I think out of all the major big banks, Bank of America is the most vulnerable, and they are the one that's most likely to go under. So if you had money in Bank of America, not financial advice, but if I was a Bank of America customer, I would be getting out there as fast as I could. Also, we've seen with Bank of America, they've also tried to implement these employee-less, fully digital banks, where you scan your bank card, you walk into the bank, there's no bank tellers, there's no employees. You go in there, you do your transactions via the ATMs and via the computers yourself. Or if you want to speak to someone, you actually have to go into a conference room and do one video via online conference. Bank of America is in trouble here, and this is going to cause domino effects like I've been warning about through the whole financial system. The banks have faced huge losses from bonds, but now they're going to be facing big losses from these commercial real estate loans. Also, if credit card delinquencies continue to rise, credit card debt's nearly at $1 trillion, and it is now getting close delinquencies to 2008. It's just going to be a recipe for disaster. Now, will they collapse? It all comes down to politics. At the end of the day, we all know that the financial system has been hijacked by politics. A lot of these banks, I will call them snowflake banks. You know, back in the day, in the early 1900s, bank collapses were normal. That happened all the time. But now investors and hedge funds have become, you know, little snowflakes that can't handle any losses. As soon as they, you know, get $1 billion in losses, they go cry to Papa Powell at the Federal Reserve and cry for a bailout. Meanwhile, if you or me make a terrible investment, we don't get a bailout. And they say, well, look, you know, it's capitalism. You know, you got to fail, you got to lose because of capitalism. When these big banks face huge losses, oh no, this is part of capitalism bailing out these huge multi-billion-dollar or trillion-dollar really banks. It's a complete joke. It's socialism for the elite and it's capitalism for the poor and middle class. It's rules for thee and not for me. Everyone, what do you think about this story with what's going on with Bank of America? Do you think they will face collapse, or do you think the Federal Reserve will come out at the last minute, like what they've been doing? You know, they're telling you that the banks are fine, but what they're really doing behind the scenes is the Federal Reserve keeps on creating these new creative, should I say, bailout facilities where they'll just create a new name for it, some emergency liquidity for the banks. And this is hitting record highs in hundreds of billions every single day. So it wasn't for the Federal Reserve bailing them out every single day, these banks would have gone under a long time ago, because we did not recover from 2008. They just pretty much printed the money, printed the problem away, and then it was business as usual. And what I think a lot of you agree with, eventually this does have to come to an end. We need to rebuild from a more sustainable base and rebuild a more stable financial system, maybe with gold backed or even Bitcoin currency backed financial system. But what do you guys think about this? Let me know down below. You're awesome. I'll see you all in the next video.